Before we talk about Odin as a king or a powerful god, we need to start from the very beginning because Odin didn't come out of nowhere. In Norse mythology, long before humans existed, there were only two places, a land of fire and a land of ice. When the heat and the cold met, the first giant was created. His name was Ymir. From Ymir's body came many other giants. And from one of those giant families, a new line of gods was born. Odin was one of them. So yes, Odin's ancestors were giants, not humans, not angels, not spirits. He was born into a world of monsters, chaos, and ancient powers. But even as a young god, Odin didn't act like the others. He was curious. He wanted answers. He wanted to understand the universe itself. That's where his journey truly begins. When Odin was young, the world was not a world yet. There were no humans, no trees, no sky, only endless ice and fire. And in the middle of it all, Ymir, the first giant. Ymir wasn't evil on purpose, but he was dangerous simply by existing. Wherever he walked, the ground cracked. Wherever he breathed, ice storms formed. And every night, more giants were born from him, giants strong enough to crush anything new that tried to survive. Odin watched this for years. He realized something important. As long as Ymir lived, the world could never grow. Nothing new could ever be created. So one day, Odin met with his brothers, Vili and Ve. They stood on the frozen plain and looked at the giants sleeping in the distance. Odin said the words they had all been afraid to speak. "We can't build a world while he is alive." Vili hesitated. "He's too powerful. No one has ever fought him." Ve added quietly, "If we attack, we might not come back." Odin nodded. He knew the risk. But he also knew that if they did nothing, everything would stay cold and empty forever. So, the three brothers made their choice. They would face Ymir, even if it cost them their lives. And that decision was the real beginning of their world. The day of the battle arrived with no sunrise, because the world still had no sun. Only a cold, gray sky hung over the frozen land as Odin, Vili, and Ve marched toward Ymir. The giant was still asleep when they reached him. His body was so huge that mountains formed along his chest and rivers of melting frost ran down his arm. Odin raised his spear. "Brothers, this is it." But the moment he spoke, Ymir's eyes snapped open. Two glowing blue storms stared down at them. The giant rose slowly, shaking the ground so violently that cracks opened under the brothers' feet. His voice was like thunder inside a cave. Odin, he charged. Vili followed with a shout, and Ve unleashed a wave of magic strong enough to tear through ice. The battle exploded instantly. Ymir swung his arm once, and Odin dove out of the way. Vili was nearly crushed. Ve shattered the falling ice with a burst of fire. Then they attacked together. Odin struck Ymir's knee, trying to bring the giant down. Vili used his strength to leap onto Ymir's arm. Ve blinded him with a flash of magic. Ymir roared so loudly. He grabbed Vili and almost crushed him in his fist. The giant stumbled. For the first time, Ymir looked afraid. Seeing their chance, the three brothers attacked at once. Odin drove his spear into Ymir's heart. Vili struck with all his force. Ve unleashed the magic that burned like the first spark of creation. The ground shook. The ice split open, and the giant fell. Ymir, the first giant, the oldest life, collapsed onto the frozen land with a crash that echoed across the empty world. The battle was over, but this was not destruction. It was the beginning of creation. When Ymir finally fell, an eerie silence spread across the land. No wind, no movement, just the enormous body of the giant covering the frozen ground. Odin was breathing hard. Vili was still shaking from the shock of almost dying moments earlier. V looked around and whispered, "Now what?" Odin stepped forward. He stared at Ymir's massive corpse, and something sparked in his mind. He said, "Brothers, we didn't just kill Ymir. We now have the raw materials for an entire world." Vili frowned. "What do you mean?" Odin touched the icy ground beneath their feet. The land was cold, empty, lifeless, but he could see what it could become. And so, the three brothers made a decision. They would build a world out of Ymir's body. They began their work. From Ymir's flesh, they shaped the earth, the land where humans would one day live. His blood poured everywhere and became the oceans. His bones turned into towering mountains. His teeth and smaller bones became rocks and stones. Then, Odin looked upward. There was no sky, just an endless, empty space. So they lifted Ymir's skull and shaped it into the sky, a giant dome above the newborn world. To keep it from falling, they placed 4 giants at the corners of the earth to hold it up. What had been a scene of death slowly turned into something beautiful, a world. Odin sat on a new stone cliff, stared at the newborn seas, and whispered, "From Ymir's death came a greater life, but the world was still empty, quiet, waiting." And Odin knew one thing: this was only the beginning. With the world finally shaped, Odin and his brothers stood on the edge of their new creation. The seas moved. The mountains stood tall. The sky held its place above them. But the world was still quiet, still empty. Odin looked at the land and said, "This world needs life. It needs stories. It needs purpose." So he and his brothers began creating the first beings, giants, spirits, and later humans. Little by little, the empty world started to breathe. Every step they took, every choice they made pushed Odin closer to becoming the ruler he was meant to be. But even this was only the first chapter. Ahead of him were battles with monsters, alliances with giants, quests for wisdom, sacrifices for knowledge, and the rise of gods who would shape all of Norse mythology. He stood on a cliff overlooking the young world and whispered, "Our work has only just begun." And from that moment, the legend of Odin truly started. And the rest of his story, well, let's just say there's a lot more waiting to be told. All the wars, the gods, the secrets of the 9 realms, they're coming.